So, you want to start a career in cybersecurity? It's an awesome field, and it's growing like crazy. But let's be real. From the outside, it can look like a total maze, right? Just this impossible puzzle. Well, the good news is, today, we're going to give you the key.
I mean, does this look familiar? You've got all these job titles: threat hunter, pen tester, security architect, and this just ocean of acronyms. It's so hard to know where to even start. And if you're feeling a little overwhelmed by it all, you're so not alone. That's a super common feeling, but it's one we're about to fix.
Okay, let's do this. We're going to move from feeling confused to having a clear, actionable plan. We're going to build it together using 3 incredibly powerful and, completely free resources that are going to act as your map, your GPS, and your playbook for breaking into this field.
All right, first things first. Before you can even think about picking a path, you got to understand the language of the world you're trying to get into. And honestly, this is the most important and most overlooked first step.
Think about it like this. You wouldn't just jump in a car for a cross-country road trip without knowing how to read a map, right? Well, in cybersecurity, that map is basically a shared language that helps you understand all the different jobs, what people in those jobs actually do all day, and the skills they need to have.
And here it is. This is our map, the NIST NICE framework. Seriously, think of this thing as the Rosetta Stone for the entire cybersecurity profession. It was put together by the National Institute of Standards and Technology for one simple reason: to create a common language that everyone, from students to recruiters, can actually understand.
Now, here's what makes it so powerful. It breaks everything down so logically. It starts with something called a work role. Like a cyber defense analyst. Then it tells you the specific tasks that person performs. And here's the best part. It lists the exact knowledge, skills, and abilities, or KSAs, you need to do those tasks. It's like a formula. It just takes all the guesswork out of it.
Okay, so now we can read the map. That's huge. The next step is to figure out our own personal route. Where do you start and where are you actually trying to go?
This brings us to our second resource, which is, for all intents and purposes, our personal GPS. This tool is brilliant. It takes all that standardized language we just learned from the NIST framework and uses it to show you how a career can actually progress over time. And here's a perfect example of what that looks like. Using a pathway from our GPS, the CISA Cyber Career Pathways tool, you can see this clear, logical progression. Maybe you start in what's called a feeder role, like an IT help desk technician, just to get those core skills down. From there, you could jump to an entry-level cyber defense analyst role, get some experience, and that could lead to becoming a cybersecurity engineer, and then, way down the road, a senior security architect. It really lays the whole journey out and makes it feel possible.
So we've got our map. We have our GPS plotting the route. Now for the most important part of all, you've actually got to learn how to drive. It's time to build a real, hands-on, in-demand skill.
Because a great plan doesn't mean much if you don't execute it, right? And that's where our third resource comes in. This is your playbook, a literal step-by-step guide for learning the skills for a specific role. And to make this really concrete, let's just focus on one common area: web application security.
And for that, our playbook is the OWASP Web Security Testing Guide. Now listen to this quote. The key here is that this isn't some boring textbook nobody uses. It's the actual framework that professional pen testers and big organizations use every single day. So when you learn this stuff, you're learning the real-world standard. It's the real deal. And here's just a little peek inside that playbook. You see how it breaks a really complex job like security testing into these simple, manageable phases? You start with information gathering, then you test the configuration, then you check authentication, and on and on. Each phase has a clear objective and even gives you example tasks. It shows you exactly what to do and how to do it.
So let's bring it all home. We've looked at 3 different resources, but the magic is that they aren't separate things. They're designed to work together to form one complete, really powerful roadmap for your career.
So let's just recap this 3-part toolkit we've put together. First, you have the NICE framework. That's your map. It defines the whole territory. Then you have the CISA Pathways tool. That's your GPS. It shows you the different routes to your destination. And finally, you have a resource like the OWASP Guide. That's your playbook. It teaches you the moves you need to actually drive that path. Map, GPS, playbook. Simple as that.
Suddenly, that maze doesn't seem so confusing anymore, does it? By using these resources, you go from feeling lost and totally overwhelmed to feeling empowered. You have a clear, structured, and 100% actionable plan. You know the language, you can see the different paths, and you know exactly how to start learning the skills.
So, the roadmap is laid out right here in front of you. The plan is ready. The only question left is, well, it's the most important one. What are you going to do with it? What's your first step?